the coastal, just getting a little bit, the ratification of the amendment which was done in Nairobi about the coastal waters. Madam Speaker, I wish to support this particular motion, Madam Speaker, because as much as we are considering the land mass being very useful and important, both for human and animal activities, we must equally consider also the waters, the coastal waters, as very, very important, both for human and also for animal activities. Madam Speaker, apart from the benefits that we get from the coastal waters, we also have the leisures and even it's one of the sources of food. But when it is not properly looked at, Madam Speaker, it can also turn into source of trouble. Madam Speaker, remember, even the terrorists access the countries through the high seas. And therefore, it is very important when a country like ours signs the ratification, to be part of the agreements that allows the coastal regions to be actually put in that perspective. Madam Speaker, we get, like what my colleague has said, when you look at the coastal region nowadays, even the tourists that normally visit those places, Madam Speaker, don't feel comfortable because of the climatic changes that has occurred in this country, in the whole world, and also because of the comfort that used to be there. When you go to the coast nowadays, Madam Speaker, the environment has changed. You find at some point it's very cold, more colder than even some regions which used to be very cold in this country. Sometimes it is so rainy that you don't even feel comfortable spending your time there. And Madam Speaker, as the time went by, the coastal region, most of the people have converted the coastal region into dump sites where they go and throw all manner of wastes, either in form of plastics, either in form of wastes from their homes, used matters. You go to the coast and you can't believe what is swimming or what are floating in the waters, Madam Speaker. I remember there was a time we used to have the most smelling part of the coastal region, that is Mombasa, and I'm happy the waste which were dumped somewhere, the dump site which used to be there has been converted into some good use. And that place nowadays, Madam Speaker, is very good. We need to actually do the same to the whole coastal region. And remember, Madam Speaker, Kenya is very lucky. It has several amenities, or it has several natural resources that most of the countries do not have. We have the longest coastal region, the longest coastline in Mombasa, and we also have some other, Madam Speaker, we are very lucky we have such kind of amenities in our country, but we must make good use of them. And therefore, I support this particular ratification because I believe it is going to change the image of our coast. It is going also to prevent fishermen from, or fisher ladies from other countries. But nowadays, people are fishing, Chinese and all manner of other fishermen and fisher ladies come to fish in our waters, because this ratification had not been put to protect that belongs to us, being reserved for us. But I think the insertion of this particular ratification will ensure that our waters will be protected, both from illegal fishermen, both from terrorists who might want to access our country, and so many other activities, because Madam Speaker, we have several activities at the coastal region. I mean, at the high seas and the coastal waters, either trainings, either research which are done by other countries. So this one, Madam Speaker, will ensure that whatever happens at our areas, at our waters, is protected. And whatever happens there happens with the knowledge or full knowledge of this country. Madam Speaker, tourism, which has been the highest earner in our country, had at some point gone down because of the threat of terrorism. And you know, terrorism can only be avoided or evaded through working with other countries which have the same, which faces the same threat. This ratification, Madam Speaker, I believe is within that region will prevent terrorists from accessing our coastal regions. Madam Speaker, a member also had introduced a question, a debate on whether this water, this salt water of the ocean can be useful to our countrymen and women. Madam Speaker, there is what they call desalination, something like that, where you pump that water and then you just make it fresh water, and use it even for irrigation, use it for other home uses and all that, Madam Speaker. You imagine how much money we are spending on drilling boreholes and digging dams and doing a lot of water bans in the country, which at some point they dry up. So you can imagine if that water was to be pumped up country, how many farmers will get access to that water? Somebody talked about it as a joke, but as far as I understand, Madam Speaker, if we were to go in that direction, there are countries which are dying to have these oceans around their countries, and they have made use of the little lakes and the little areas they have, or the little rivers and lakes they have for the same purpose. So why don't we make use of this water for the good of our people? Madam Speaker, there has been also some menaces at the coastal region. Sometimes when you visit those particular areas, you find beach boys activities is also an employment opportunity, Madam Speaker, but sometimes they become so notorious. They follow tourists all the way until they can't even enjoy the sweetness and the happiness at the beach, because sometimes they become notorious. And I think if government was to put in place serious structures to allow these beach boys to work as a meaningful employment and know their borderlines, Madam Speaker, we can employ them, and we can also use them to help us, like tour guides and all. You know, like when you go to Masai Mara, Madam Speaker, and these other reserves and parks, they are tour guides, and they are properly employed, and they are not a nuisance to the tourists because they know what they are doing. They are showing the tourists where there are animals which they want to see, guiding them on where they are supposed to visit, etc., etc. So if we turn these beach boys that we have in the coastal region into meaningful tour guides, showing tourists best hotels, best places, times to visit the ocean, and all those manner of activities that happen there, they can be of good use. But when we leave them at the mercy of their own arrangements, they can be a very serious nuisance in the coastal region. Madam Speaker, just like what the member who just spoke right now, is that there are so many people who've also encroached the coastline to the extent that you find people have built even houses, private homes, hotels, and you find nowadays the beach side is not even conducive for serious tourists. It has become like a place for everybody. So, Madam Speaker, I support this.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Member for Mosop.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity that you've given me to support this motion on the ratification of the Amendment Nairobi Convention and the Protocol for the Protection of the Marine and Coastal Environment of the Western Indian Ocean from land-based resources and activities.